This one's a bit funny. Um,
According to CDC, the way you raise your child today does determine tomorrow if they will be suicidal or not, depressed or not, or feeling really anxious or not. So we're here to help you raise us. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, comment, and share with the other parents.
How's it going, guys? VaChimudzi here, and here are the 5 times my parents chose for me. So bear in mind, this is not in any particular order, and I'm just speaking from my mind. So the first time my parents chose for me was when I was in primary school, and I'd always nag them about how badly I've always wanted a PlayStation. So I'll get to school and I'd hear my friends talking about how cool this game is, or how their parents bought them the latest FIFA game at that time. And because you're so young and naive, it makes you feel so uncool and you feel out of place. So I'd always go back home and I'd always nag them about how badly I wanted a PlayStation, and they never used to listen to me. So I then resorted in finding myself in a deal with the seniors in my high school, and I got to get this one guy who was gonna lend me his PlayStation for a couple of days. I think it was like for the whole weekend. And I remember I was so excited because I had a TV in my bedroom, so I'd always play it after hours when people fall asleep. And I remember over the weekend I played it for so long, right? I think it overheated and I fried the system, so it wasn't working anymore. So I went back on Monday and I told the guy that had given me his PlayStation. I told him what happened, and he was so upset with me. And he went straight to my mom, because my mom was teaching at the same primary school I was learning at that time. And now she was forced to then pay for something that she hadn't even bought in the first place. And I remember I got into so much trouble because it then involved my dad and their parents, and it was just a whole fiasco altogether. Now, for the second time, my parents chose for me. Now, this one's a bit funny. I'd always nag my mom about how badly I wanted a younger sibling. So I have 4 older siblings in my family, and the drill with all the siblings is that they're always there for you to help you out, give you advice. They pretty much always have your back, right? And growing up with siblings that have like a very, very, very mature mind, they have mature minds to the point where they give you advice about almost anything, right? You gain so much knowledge from these type of people, and you just feel the urge to impart some of the knowledge that they gave you to someone else and touch someone else's life the way that they touched yours. So I'd always nag my mom about how much I wanted a younger sibling, and of course I didn't get one. But it made me realize, wow, wait a minute, I actually don't need a younger sibling for me to impact someone's life. So that then opened some interests that I never knew I possessed, and I started venturing into motivation and leadership, and I've gotten some pretty good feedback from there. I've gotten people telling me that you would really work well in impacting people's lives. You should actually take it seriously as a profession. So it made me realize sometimes you're put in situations not because you won't be able to handle the situation that you wish to be in, but you're not given the opportunity to experience what you want because there's something that's greater ahead of you that's waiting for you in the future. Now, the third thing, this is pretty recent, and it happened like a couple years ago. I remember when I was 16 years old, when I just turned 16, I'd always nag my dad about how I wanted to get my driver's license as soon as possible. And he just wasn't up for it. He wasn't listening to me. He wasn't into the idea, basically. And So, you feel like they don't want you to enjoy your teenage life. Like they don't want you to enjoy your best life when you're young. And at that time you feel like they don't care about you, about the things that you want, but when you get older you then realize sometimes they're preparing you, for this thing that you're anticipating for so much, because they realize that the eagerness that is within you could actually be dangerous once you possess this thing at a very young age. So my dad waited for an additional 2 years, and they made me get my driver's license when I was 18 years old, which wasn't bad in the end, because at that time I was still one of the very first people amongst my friends to get my driver's license. So yeah. Now the fourth thing is in connection with the third point that I talked about earlier, right? Upon getting my driver's license, I was not allowed to drive at night. So I'll go to all these parties because I was allowed to go out at night from the time I was 15 basically, right? So when I was allowed to go out by the time I was 15, of course the curfews, they keep extending as you get older. So when I was around 18, I really didn't have like a time where I had to be back home per se, because they believed that I was mature enough to take care of myself. So I would get a policy whereby if I got out in the afternoon, right, or any time of the day, right, by 6 p.m. I need to have parked the car at home. And if I have any ideas of wanting to go out, I'll have to either get a cab or get my friends to pick me up. And it kind of sucked, but that's one thing I can't even understand why they did that, because I feel like I was old enough and mature enough to take care of myself behind the steering wheel in the evening. So yeah, the fifth and final thing was back in my younger years again, in my primary school, between the years of 9 up until like 11, 12 years old. Yeah. I was never ever allowed to go for sleepovers at the primary school. I don't know why. I was never allowed. I still don't know why. Because I'd always ask if I could go to my friend's house. Funny enough, they'd always allow me to bring friends over, but I wasn't allowed to go sleep at their house. Because they'd always say, it's dangerous. What if your friends aren't the people that you think they are? And so I feel like that's one time where I've actually missed out a certain part in my younger years. And unfortunately, when I was young, I never got to know what that feeling is like. But when I got older, that's when they started allowing me to go, because my best friend stays in a different city altogether. So they'd allow me to go as far as Mutare to go for a sleepover for like a whole week or two. And yeah, so those are the 5 things, the 5 situations in my life where my parents chose for me.